I like how it's downhill to everywhere, unlike the ski area.
Well, it's not Whistler, and you probably won't be seeing Red Bull events around here anytime soon, but this is a legitimate bike park. After around a decade of delays and countless hours of advocacy, working through the seemingly interminable process of environmental review, Timberline ski area has finally built a lift access bike park. You get here by driving or taking the bus to Timberline Lodge. Fill out a waiver online before you get there or at one of the iPads in the YE Stay Lodge, and then go into guest services in that same lodge and buy your ticket. Currently, they're only $36. Your impression of the Timberline Bike Park is entirely contingent on what you expect from a bike park. There are no rock rolls, granite slabs, gaps, or 40-foot tables in this park. The creators of Timberline Bike Park seem to be expertly navigating very sensitive terrain as they build out their trails. With that in mind, there is only so much that can or should be done within those parameters. More on that later. After buying your ticket, Timberline Lodge asks that bikers hose off their bikes to prevent introducing invasive species to the sensitive alpine and subalpine environments the trails travel through. After your bike receives its baptism, it is time to pass through the exclusive gates of the bike park. The first trail you'll encounter is Gravy Train, which is the green, beginner-friendly trail that accesses every other trail in the park. Beyond just being kind of a backbone at this phase of the build-out, Gravy Train is by far the most important trail on this hill. Gravy Train is important because it is the most accessible mountain bike trail within 2 hours of Portland. Descending the entire length of the Jeff Flood Express ski lift, Gravy Train is wide and predictable. This trail is built such that anyone who can ride a bike can ride down this trail and feel like they accomplished something. It has that very rare quality in a mountain bike trail wherein a beginner can ride for miles and miles without ever getting off the bike and without feeling like they're on the verge of cardiac arrest. If you've wanted to get your significant other into mountain biking, this is probably the right trail to do it on. It's an extremely well-built trail with well-built features you could use as an excellent place to train someone how to handle a bike on single track. The reason I say this makes it the most important trail in the mountain is directly related to who I saw riding this trail. There were people riding this trail who looked nothing like the kind of person you expect to see on a mountain bike. Every one of those people is someone new to the sport who now knows how great it feels to ride single track through the woods and who now knows mountain bikes are nothing to fear when encountered on trails. Every person riding this trail who otherwise may not feel comfortable attempting this sport is someone who might later sign up for a skills class and become a mountain biker. This trail could be one of the most important pieces of outreach infrastructure we have for mountain biking in the Portland area. Okay, so now that you're at the bottom of Gravy Train, it'll dump you out on this road which leads to the bottom of Jeff Flood Express. I was really pleasantly surprised to see that Timberline Lodge purchased legitimate bike park quality racks for their ski lift. These trays are the easiest and most secure type of rack I've ever used on a lift. Just pick up your bike and drop it in. Since Jeff Flood Express is a standard high-speed quad lift, the trays are going slow enough that you should have no trouble getting your bike loaded up. The ride up Jeff Flood is even prettier in the summer than it is in the winter. You get a great view of Mount Hood and, well, honestly, you get a great view of everything. The forest is pretty, the breeze is nice, and there's so much to see in the woods just from the lift. Plus, a lot of the trails travel underneath the lift, so there's always something to watch. After riding a green trail all the way down to the bottom of the lift, we had to go back up to ride their newest black trail, Camino De La Canne. I'd love to know how this trail got its name. Camino is definitely the king of technical riding on this hill, in as much as any true tech is really possible up here. The soil is volcanic sand and ash, and as such is not really well suited to super technical riding, as everything just kind of moves a lot. That said, CDM does do the best possible job one could expect attempting to get techie while remaining sustainable within this highly sensitive environment while under intense scrutiny from all interested parties. There are tight and chundry turns, techie off cambers, and narrow benches. CDM is also a lot faster than Gravy Train for what it's worth. What it isn't right at the moment is a true black. It's more of a blue, but that's only because the tread is brand new. There's a lot of boulders and roots below grade, and once those pop up above grade, this trail will be a true black. Seriously, the trail surface will not remain so pristine. Camino sort of just ends here at the road. I suggest taking Xerxes back to the lift. Xerxes was named after the Xerxes Society, with whom Timberline has closely worked in order to ensure that the building of the bike park did not interfere with or negatively affect the pollinating insects who share this forest. Xerxes is also a fun trail. It's somewhere in between El Camino and Gravy Train in difficulty, and it gets you back to the ski lift a bit faster than Gravy Train. This is definitely the funner option for getting back to the bottom of the lift. The rock is somewhat like Xerxes, but longer. There's a picture of the rock on one of the trail signs. I am pleased to see the builders obeying convention when it comes to any trail whose name happens to be the same as a celebrity. If you feel like you've mastered the rock, then you're ready to ride Camino. There's a really obvious progression between those two trails. Broby 1 is a nifty little black line that's probably a little less techy than El Camino, but is broken up by multiple trail crossings. I'm not really sure what entirely to make of Broby 1. It's another option. It's another black line. I suppose at some point I could provide a lengthier review. It's also currently blue, but will absolutely mature into a proper black line as it gets ridden in. Perhaps the most memorable trail on the hill is Realign. Realign is the most proper bike park trail at Timberline at the moment. It felt very evocative of the trails in the Creekside zone at Whistler, just smaller. Realign actually kind of sort of has jumps on it. This felt to me like the fastest trail in the park. The berms are steeper, you can actually get a tiny amount of airtime from the jumps, and you really get to move the bike underneath you on this trail. But it's definitely progressive, definitely accessible to a large cross-section of riders. Gotta Go is a clever name for a trail that gets you back to the lodge. Nothing special, you ride it so you can get back to the lodge to go pee. The trails I've ridden so far only represent phase 1 of the bike park build-out. Representatives have promised that there is a phase 2 slated to open next summer as soon as the snow melts. For now, the trails represent something beautiful. They represent an outreach opportunity. Yes, they're a bit tame, but that's a function of both the landscape and the intense scrutiny this area gets from a lot of different organizations. Timberline Bike Park will never host anything like Crankworx. It's never going to be a massive world-class destination like Whistler. It is a moderately sized, well-built, and accessible family-friendly bike park near the Portland area that gives people one more thing to do when they're staying at the lodge or down in government camp. It's a nice addition, and as a bonus, if you took the bus to the lodge, now you can ride your bike all the way back down to Rhododendron and grab the Timberline Express at the bottom. No need to sell yourself short on single track. Did I mention there's a bus that gets you to Timberline? So awesome. If you live in Portland, there is a mass transit that will take you to a bike park. So this park was built in a civically responsible manner. There were many different user groups who expressed anxiety about building this in the first place. The building of this was significantly delayed to ensure that every concerned organization could weigh in so that the sensitive landscape here would be protected. Based on my experience riding these trails, this is what has been accomplished. This isn't the X Games. There's no one doing backflips off rock slabs here. What this place does have, however, is a lot of people on bikes, enjoying their favorite mountain on 2 wheels.